Small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy, and we here at One American News want to highlight those small businesses, including the one founded by a U.S. Army combat veteran, speaker, and best-selling author of American Dream: Discipline, Resilience, Endurance, Adaptability, and Mentorship to Succeed and Win in Life. Well, here to discuss her story further is the owner of the first veteran-owned luxury fragrance line for men and women in New York City, and the founder of the Magda Khalifa Foundation, Magda Khalifa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Stephanie. Great to be here.
You left your lucrative corporate career, family, and comfortable life to join the military after witnessing the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Tell us more about your story.
Yes, so I grew up in the New York City area, and life was very good in the 90s. And of course, growing up under the umbrella of such a great area and seeing what happened, the attacks on the U.S. and the attacks right there in my city, compelled me to do something, to be part of the fight against, the enemy that attacked us and our freedom. So, we're approaching the 20-year anniversary, and it's surreal to think that that happened 20 years ago. And, our country needs to remember the history and realize that there is an active enemy threat out there. And Americans need to stand up and to be able to step up when our country needs us most.
And after serving 2 tours in Iraq, you went on to launch the first veteran-owned luxury fragrance line for men and women in New York City and founded a charity, the Magda Khalifa Foundation. What inspired you to take on these 2 projects?
Sure. Well, my battle started when I returned back after my second tour in Iraq. Serving at war was therapeutic because I was doing something. But when I came home, there was no guidance on transitioning. So it was the better part of a decade for me to turn my life around. So having gone through that struggle, I realized I had a lot of value to help others, not just veterans, but people going through struggle. Because if I could do a 180 with my life, others could too. So I wrote the book, the memoir, and actually shared the experiences and the solutions that I found along the way that could help others as well. And it became evident to me that not everybody reads a book, so I needed a physical product that was worthy of the Freedom Triangle captured inside the book. So that's when I introduced Triangle Fragrance, and this year the charity. So it's a big endeavor. I want to reach a lot of people, serve them, help them through their struggle. Obviously, we're going through very difficult times worldwide as well, but the good news is there's a pathway forward.
And it's interesting, some of the names of your fragrances: freedom, clarity, confidence. The name of your company is called Triangle Fragrance, and you touched on this just a second ago, and even has a backing from one of the original sharks from the TV show Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. But I want to ask, how did you come up with the name of your company, and tell us more about some of the fragrances you offer?
Sure. Well, the powerful Freedom Triangle is based on time freedom, health freedom, mind freedom. So Triangle Fragrance is inspired by the Freedom Triangle. And inside each of the different fragrances, you have a self-help card that ties back to the story. So it's a way to be able to get people into this mindset of, they put on a nice, luxurious eau de parfum scent and they associate it with the statements on the card. So that's the first step. It makes the experience much more pleasurable of self-help and getting across what's holding you back from becoming the best version of yourself and truly finding modern luxury, which is the pinnacle: mind freedom, which is personal freedom, and inner peace, clarity, and significance. So the names of the fragrances, we have fragrances for men and for women: victory and confidence tied to time freedom, clarity and energy tied to health freedom, and then peace and freedom are the unisex scents that tie to mind freedom, which is the pinnacle of Freedom Triangle. So I'm very excited to serve others through both the physical product, the book, the story, the fragrances, but really the Freedom Triangle. That's what it comes back to.
You talk about some of the struggles that small businesses, including yours, have had to go through. How do you perceive the Biden administration in its policies so far with regard to how it's affecting you as a business owner?
Sure. Well, small business is the backbone of the country, and it's important to see policies that strengthen the ability for small businesses to prosper And those policies extend across the gamut of everything that the administration is doing. And I could say that one thing I would absolutely love to see, I hear a lot of talk about supporting veterans. Well, we know that there are large businesses out there. People like my mentor, Grant Cardone, who offers his sales and training platform to veterans. And he approached the Pentagon and tried to give them this platform that could help veterans that are transitioning into small business. And unfortunately, there was a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. So it would be wonderful if the administration could connect and bridge and allow that sales and marketing platform to be available to thousands of transitioning veterans, because just like we learn the fundamentals as soldiers, as service members, when we learn our job to go overseas and fight wars, we learn how to shoot, move, communicate, fight, and survive. We also need to have the tools, sales and marketing fundamentals in business for our businesses to prosper, because there are so many elements out there that fight against the survival of a business. For small businesses, I mean, the statistics are there. We know most small businesses do not get to the 5-year mark. So here is a great way that the administration can back and support transitioning veterans, and at the same time be able to allow for a future of leaders to step up and rise through capitalism.
Absolutely. And I think that's the main difference that we've been seeing between the Trump administration and the Biden administration, where the former President Trump, he wanted to cut the red tape. Anytime if there was going to be a new regulation in place, you had to cut at least 2 regulations, especially as a business owner. I'm sure that's been handy for you. I also want to ask, because the Magda Khalifa Foundation, tell us more about that.
Sure, absolutely. So we are a component fund of Legacy Global, and currently we are supporting a veterans organization that had helped me in my transition with health issues. So I was very fortunate. The council approved this particular organization, Task Force Dagger Special Operations Foundation. They are one of the organizations leading the way to tackle the health issues that veterans, especially special operations veterans, have experienced in modern warfare today. So it's very important that we pick organizations that are making a difference in veterans' lives, because cancer and suicide is certainly two of the top killers of veterans coming home from wars today. So it's important that we give back, because we understand, like, we can't rely on government to try to solve these things. So a lot of these wonderful nonprofits are doing great work, and I'm hoping to raise a spotlight on the work that they're doing and other foundations that we're going to be working with as well, and not restricted just to the veteran space, but essentially as long as they support the mission of Magda Khalifa Foundation, which is ultimately to help people achieve their inner peace. We are all about supporting them as well.
And lastly, you have quite the resume. Where can our viewers go to learn more about you, your company, and your foundation?
Thank you, Stephanie. MagdaKhalifa.com, and it has all the links for trianglefragrance.com, MagdaKhalifaFoundation.org if they would like to make a contribution. And they can sign up for a newsletter as well. I'm happy to serve them.
Magda Khalifa, thank you so much again for your time and, of course, your service.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And we'll have more of today's top stories for you right after.